Why hello there, and welcome to a very special Let's Make Us a Character. It is the 20th episode, so I figured why not look at a game that came out 20 years ago, and has 20 in its name, and was marketed almost entirely around that fact. Yes, I am of course talking about D20 Modern, a game you probably forgot about until you saw the thumbnail for this video, much like I forgot about it until someone mentioned it in a comment. And for those who are not remembering it, allow me to elucidate. D20 Modern is a game that allows you to experience the thrills of every blockbuster action movie, every heart-pounding first-person shooter, and every explosive, high-octane escapade you can dream up. And despite sounding like a fan-made D20 conversion you'd get from somebody's GeoCity site, it is an official D20 product from Wizards of the Coast. And since this game is directly based on the same system as Dungeons & Dragons 3rd Edition, and I covered the 3rd Edition mechanics pretty thoroughly in my 3rd Edition video, I will not really be getting into the general mechanics here, except where they differ from 3rd Edition. And I actually have a bunch more stuff to say about this game, but I will save that for the end and also kind of the middle. But for now, let's make us a D20 Modern character. While the rules are more or less the same as D&D 3rd Edition, due to the modern real-world setting, our only race option is human. And because of that, the bonuses you normally get for being human in D&D are just rolled into the standard character creation rules, which works fine as long as you don't intend to add other playable races later. Which they literally did in the very next book and then had to specify to remove those human bonuses. Anyway, our basic class options, the ones we can take at first level, are Strong Hero, Fast Hero, Tough Hero, Smart Hero, Dedicated Hero, and Charismatic Hero. Guess what those are based on? And just because they keep providing it as an option and I keep ignoring it, let's use the standard score package of 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. And this then brings us to an interesting decision. Each of the basic classes is based around one of the attributes, so the Strong Hero has the fastest base attack bonus progression, the Fast Hero has the highest defense bonus, the Tough Hero has the biggest hit die, the Smart Hero has the most skill points, and so on and so on. So while we could super stack one attribute, we could also use the class features to compensate for a lower score. So we are going to put 15 in Strength, 14 in Dexterity, 13 in Constitution, 10 in Intelligence, 12 in Wisdom, and 8 in Charisma. And then for our first class, we will select Tough Hero, which is going to give us a decent supply of hit points, even though we did not prioritize Constitution. There are several other factors to consider when choosing a starting class, but I will get more into that when we reach level 4. Also, we need to select a starting profession, and from the options, let's go with Athlete, and say that our character is a motocross racer. That's a thing people did in 2002, right? So now on to the character sheet. We get our now iconic ability modifiers as introduced in 3rd Edition. Hit points equal to the maximum value of our hit die plus Constitution modifier, so 11. Our base attack bonus is +0, our Fortitude save is +1, and our Reflex and Will saves +0. To which we add our Constitution, Dexterity, and Wisdom modifiers respectively to get our total save bonuses. We also get a +1 defense bonus and a +0 reputation bonus, which I should probably explain. So basically, if an NPC may know of your character by reputation, they make a roll, to which your reputation bonus is added. And now, boy do we get feats. We get 1 feat for being a level 1 character, so let's take Light Armor Proficiency, and technically we get another one for being human, so let's take Iron Will, which gives us a +2 bonus to Will saves, since all of our hit points probably won't do much when it comes to things requiring Will saves. We also get a bonus feat from our occupation. Not every occupation grants bonus feats, but ours does, giving us the option of Brawl or Archaic Weapons Proficiency, and we are going to go with Brawl. which gives us a +1 bonus on unarmed strikes and increases unarmed strike damage to 1d6. And finally, we get simple weapons proficiency as a bonus feat from our class. Actually, every basic class gets simple weapons proficiency as a bonus feat at level 1. Which begs the question, if every character gets a specific feat, then why does that feat need to exist instead of just being part of the basic rules? We get a number of class skills from our class, and our profession lets us select 3 more from a list, or a +1 bonus if we select a skill that is already a class skill. So let's add balance and tumble and take that +1 bonus to climb. We get skill points equal to 3 plus our intelligence modifier times 4, so 12 points to spend on our skills at the cost of 1 point per rank in class skills and 1 point per half rank in non-class skills. Up to a maximum of 3 plus our character's level for class skills and half as much for non-class skills. So let's put 4 points into concentration and drive, some of you probably know why, and 2 into profession, motocross racer, and tumble. Then we add all of the relevant ability modifiers for our total skill bonuses. Our class also gives us a talent at first level. Actually, every basic class gives a talent at every odd level and a bonus feat at every even level, and that is it. Each class has 2 or 3 talent trees with abilities that are in some way tied to that class's key attribute. So our con-based tough hero gets a damage reduction, energy resistance, and unbreakable talent tree. Although there are some restrictions on what we can take at level 1, so we will take fire resistance, which allows us to ignore a number of points of fire damage equal to our constitution modifier. And now to determine our wealth bonus. We roll 2d4 and add +1 from our occupation and another +1 for having ranks in profession, so 6 overall. The wealth system here is honestly one of the better designed elements of this game, and also abstract. So rather than tracking every dollar earned and spent, you just have this abstract wealth bonus. So let's say we want to purchase a leather jacket, a cell phone, and a Yamaha YZ250F. Yeah, the equipment selection is a thing I will discuss later. Anyway, each piece of equipment has a purchase DC, which is the difficulty of purchasing said item. Since our wealth bonus is +6, we can purchase any item with a purchase DC of 6 or lower without issue. But for these more expensive items, we need to roll. So let's try for the Yamaha YZ250F, rolling a D20 and adding our wealth bonus, and an unsurprising failure. Next, we'll roll for the leather jacket, and since we have exceeded the purchase DC, we have successfully purchased it. And since the DC was higher than our wealth bonus, it decreases the wealth bonus by 1. Now for the nondescript cell phone, we roll with the now lowered bonus and another success, which brings our wealth down to 4. So there is an amount of equipment which was sufficient to explain how the wealth bonus works. All of which we can very easily carry. And now that we're equipped, we can calculate our armor class, which is equal to 10 plus that defense modifier of +1 we got from our class, +2 from our dexterity, and +1 from the leather jacket, for 14 overall. The defense bonus is presumably there since most modern people in 2002 do not wear armor, and does apply to both touch AC, which excludes armor, and flat-footed AC, which excludes dexterity. Our unarmed strike bonus is +3, +2 from our strength, and +1 from the brawl feat, and does 1d6 plus strength modifier damage, which would be 1d3 without the brawl feat. Our initiative bonus is equal to our dexterity modifier, our speed is 30, I guess we have like a name and stuff, and finally we get action points equal to 5 plus 1/2 our level, rounded down. And that is the value for every basic class. And what action points are is points that can be spent to activate certain class abilities or add 1d6 to a d20 roll, and this is a thing I like the idea of, but not so much how it was implemented. The issue is that once spent, action points are not regained. You get more of them every time you level up, but you never get any back. And I feel like having them as a finite resource is going to make the decision of spending them or not a more stressful experience than it really should be, especially right after leveling up when you have the most points, but are also the furthest from getting more. And as this is more of a resource than a statistic, I will not be adding the action points every level, since this character isn't going to be spending any, so they would just pile up to very unrealistic numbers. And with that, this character is done. So I guess we'll now move on to our second level in Tough Hero. We get 1d10 plus 1 hit points. Our base attack bonus, fortitude save, and defense bonus all go up by 1, affecting all of the things those affect. We get a bonus feat from a class-specific list and have taken Endurance, which provides a +4 bonus to various things that benefit from strong endurance. We also get 3 skill points, which have been placed in Concentration, Drive, and Profession. Also, at every level, we can make a profession check to try and increase our wealth bonus. And yes, it is specified that this is done after spending skill points. The DC for the check is equal to our current wealth bonus, so the lower the current wealth, the easier it is to increase, kind of like the opposite of in real life. So we roll a D20 and add our profession skill bonus of +4 for a total of 21. And our wealth bonus is increased by +1 for the successful check, then +1 for every 5 by which we exceeded the DC, and +1 for having 1 to 5 ranks in profession, making our new wealth bonus +9. Also, we get 6 action points, but I am not adding them to the sheet for the reasons I explained previously. So now, on to level 3. We get another 1d10 plus 1 hit points. Our base attack bonus, reflex and will saves, and reputation bonus all go up by 1. We get the standard feat gained at 3rd character level and have selected Improved Brawl, which grants another +1 to unarmed strikes and increases the damage to 1d8. We also get another talent from our class and have selected Damage Reduction 1, which reduces all physical damage taken by 1. And once again, 3 skill points that we will put in Concentration, Drive, and Profession. And another opportunity to increase our wealth bonus. And now that we have built up some wealth, let's try again for that Yamaha YZ250F. And with our +12 bonus, we are able to obtain it, but then lose 1 point of wealth due to the purchase DC being above 15, and another D6 wealth for the purchase DC being 11 to 15 points higher than our bonus, knocking our wealth bonus down to 8, but like 8 and a motorcycle. And that is it for level 3, and I did say I'd get more into the classes at level 4, and here is level 4. As explained previously, there are 6 basic classes, each tied to one of these 6 attributes, but each attribute also has 2 associated advanced classes. And just for the sake of being thorough, the book provides 3 campaign models, which are like little mini campaign settings, and are relevant here because each one has 2 additional advanced classes. So there is Shadow Chasers, which is stated as being their version of the Buffyverse, just because I guess this wasn't 2002 enough already, and provides the Shadow Slayer and Occultist classes. Agents of Psi, which is a psionic spy setting, which actually has some really interesting ideas, and I really would have liked to see developed more, but most relevantly provides 2 psionic classes, the Telepath and Battle Mind, which are similar to but distinct from the Scion and Soul Knife respectively. And Urban Arcana, which is Dungeons & Dragons in 2002, and the only one of these campaign models that actually got expanded into a full campaign setting, and introduces 2 spellcasting classes, the Mage and Acolyte, which are very similar to the D&D Wizard and Cleric. Each of the advanced classes has a number of prerequisites, which are generally feats, a specific base attack bonus, and/or 6 ranks in specific skills, all of which can be met with 3 levels in the associated basic class, and only that basic class, which is a thing. Technically, you do not have to take the associated basic class, but without the proper class skills, it would take you up to level 9 to get 6 ranks in a non-class skill. There are of course exceptions. The strength-linked classes have requirements that other basic classes can meet at level 4 or 6, and you can get some of the necessary skills from your occupations, but it is very clear that the advanced classes were each intended and designed to be entered into from a specific basic class, which can make some things a little weird. Just for example, let's look at the Martial Artist and Battle Mind. They both require a +3 attack bonus, which only a strong hero would have at level 3, but they also both require ranks in Jump. And it seems that something like, I don't know, Tumble would be a more appropriate skill for a martial artist, but that's a dexterity skill. And both of these would probably be better served by ranks in Climb, which is a strength skill, but Jump is a strength skill that only the strong hero gets, so that's what has to be the requirement. But let's look at our options as a level 3 tough hero, Daredevil and Bodyguard. And obviously we took all the prerequisites for Daredevil, so that is what we'll be going with, but I would also like to point out that both of these classes require 6 ranks in concentration. Are these two classes particularly likely to need to make concentration checks? No. Are there not other classes that it would actually make way more sense to require ranks in concentration? Also no. Concentration is just the only constitution-based skill, and therefore the only one exclusive to the tough hero. And honestly, I think it's only con-based because when they were designing 3rd edition, they got some weird idea that each ability score needed to have at least one associated skill. And I would just like to point out that this is not my typo. It is a typo that I managed to copy from the book without realizing it until just now. So let's head back to the character sheet for our first level in Daredevil. And I am going to go through this level piece by piece since while I did explain multiclassing in the 3rd edition video, I didn't actually demonstrate it, so that's what I'm doing now. We are now a level 4 character. For the purposes of things like feats, ability score increases, and maximum skill ranks, we are considered level 4. And at level 4, we do add +1 to one of our ability scores. So let's put that in Strength, which is going to bump up our Strength modifier to +3, increasing our melee attack and damage, and Strength-based skills by 1. We are also still considered a level 3 tough hero and retain all of the abilities and bonuses of that class, but are now also a level 1 Daredevil. Daredevils also have a D10 hit die, so another 1d10 plus 1 hit points. And then what we do here is take our level 3 tough hero bonuses and add to them the level 1 Daredevil bonuses. So a first level Daredevil gets a +2 bonus to fortitude saves and a +1 defense bonus, which we add to our current +2 fortitude save bonus and +2 defense bonus for a +4 and +3 respectively. And then all of the associated bonuses that those increase. We also gain the Fearless ability, which grants us +4 versus fear effects and intimidation, and skill ranks equal to 5 plus our intelligence modifier, so 5. However, we do have a slightly different set of class skills, and only the class skills of the class we are taking at this current level are considered to be class skills. So if we wanted to put ranks in Knowledge Streetwise, it would be considered a cross-class skill and cost twice as many points per skill rank, even though it was a class skill for the tough hero, because it is not a class skill for the Daredevil. And it's not like a complicated thing to do, but it does seem like for a game where you are expected to multiclass, they should maybe have prioritized making that process as simple as possible. Like, this is just 2 classes, what if you had 3, or 4, or I don't know, 7? It would get complicated very fast. Also, as long as I'm on the topic, you can buy half skill ranks, and it might have been nice if they'd introduced other half bonuses to encourage more class hopping, because as it is, if you took 1 level in every basic class, you would be a level 6 character with a +1 base attack bonus, which probably wouldn't be a very effective character. Anyway, we've got 5 skill points to spend, so let's put 1 in balance and 2 in escape artist and intimidate. Then we can roll to increase our wealth, and no. Also, we now get 6 plus 1/2 our character level action points per level, which is what all of the advanced classes get, so I will just update this to the amount received at level 4 as if all previous points had been spent. And that is level 4. So I guess on to level 5, or more specifically, our second level in Daredevil. We gain another 1d10 plus 1 hit points. Our base attack bonus, fortitude save, and defense bonus all go up by 1, as well as everything to which those are added. We gain the Nip Up ability, which allows us to stand from prone as a free action. And we get 5 skill points, putting 1 in demolitions and 2 each in profession and spot. And another chance to increase our wealth, succeeding this time and raising our wealth to 13. And finally, level 6/3. As a 6th level character, we gain a feat and have selected Street Fighting, which adds 1d4 damage to a single unarmed or simple weapon attack once per round, but unfortunately does not allow us to execute a spinning bird kick. We also gain a bonus feat as a 3rd level Daredevil and take Vehicle Expert, which grants a +2 bonus to the drive and pilot skills. Another 1d10 plus 1 hit points. Our reflex and will saves go up, as does our reputation bonus. 5 skill points, so 1 in pilot and 2 in intimidate and jump. Another chance to increase our wealth, and a modest success, bumping our wealth up to 16. And there we have it, a D20 Modern character. And there are quite a few good ideas here, it just seems like they are suboptimally executed. Like, the whole point seems to be that it's based on the same system as 3rd edition, and when that is your goal, you are severely restricting what you allow yourself, or in this case your designers, to do. But I am actually now going to turn things over to non-D10 me to wrap up this video with even more opinions. Hello, human me here, because I just have a lot of thoughts on this game, and this is the easiest way to put them all into the video without having to change an image of a die every few seconds. So, overall, I think D20 Modern is fine. It's okay. It is good enough, and I kinda think that's what the goal was. Keep in mind, this game came out in 2002, a point in time at which Dungeons & Dragons was less a generic fantasy game and more Dungeons & Dragons. Like, it was its own thing. You didn't play Dungeons & Dragons to recreate your favorite moments from Lord of the Rings. You played it for the setting and world and lore of Dungeons & Dragons. On the other hand, D20 Modern seems dedicated to presenting itself as very generic, that it's about recreating your favorite action movies and first-person shooters, rather than being Dungeons & Dragons in 2002. Because honestly, that is what D20 Modern is. Once you get past all of the generic recreate first-person shooters crap, they just immediately start hitting you with bugbears and displacer beasts and gnolls and mind flayers and yuan-ti and just, you know, Dungeons & Dragons stuff. And then they give you those 3 little campaign models, all of which have fantasy elements and require them to then have magic and psychic powers. But even then, it is 3 unrelated little mini settings, all of which for some reason feature an organization called Department 7, which is described differently for each setting, so rather than being like a thread to tie them all together, it's just more things instead of like one better thing. Now, mind you, there are some good things here, like, despite some flaws, I do like the abstract monetary system. Unfortunately, they very much do not have an abstract equipment system. I have to wonder if there's really a need to specify a make and model for every single vehicle in the game, or, you know, a reason to have 17 different handguns, some of which have nearly identical stats. And then on the other side, you have like one non-specific cell phone and one non-specific chainsaw, which they don't even detail beyond dealing 3d6 damage. And then there are only 12 pieces of armor in the entire game, including leather armor, chainmail, and plate mail, because I guess technically you could find those in a modern setting. I mean, I do literally have chainmail right now. But then beyond those archaic armors and the leather jacket, everything is very specific military and police body armor. So if we wanted something like the protective equipment that someone like, say, a motocross racer might wear, we do not have stats for that. We do not have stats for a generic protective equipment. We just have a very small selection of very specific armors that most people do not have access to. And I don't know if this is like a thing that's supposed to enhance the immersion by calling the real world things by the real world names, or if it's just the designer trying to show off how many things they can name, but it kinda feels like the latter. Also, conceptually, I like the idea of the basic classes. It's kind of like a 0 level, something that gives you a chance to like feel out your character before making decisions about your main class. However, the issue is you are required to take at least 3 of them, or more if you did not plan out your character at level 1 with your eventual advanced class in mind. And the advanced classes, aside from the ones that incorporate fantasy elements, are kinda not worth the wait. It's like getting a less extravagant version of a first level D&D class at level 4. And when the entire branding of this thing is based around it uses the system from Dungeons & Dragons, it's incredibly difficult to not draw direct comparisons to Dungeons & Dragons. Overall, I think the back of the book sums it up incredibly well. This product is compatible with the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game, and other D20 system role-playing games. It's not a thing on its own. It's not a game, it is a product for Wizards of the Coast to stick into a section of the market that they were not currently exploiting. Does that mean that D20 Modern is a bad game? No. As I said, it's fine, it's okay, it is on par with the other products that Wizards of the Coast were putting out at the time. It just also feels like it could have been much better without very much more effort. And then if you add in the Urban Arcana campaign setting, I would go as far as to say it's a good game. The game that the original probably wanted to be, but couldn't because the Wizards decided that a generic modern game had wider appeal than an urban fantasy one. And that's pretty much my thoughts on the topic of D20 Modern, and thank you for watching, with extra special thanks to my Fight and Flail Snails, Samuel Gorski and Randy Mulholland. If you'd like to be cool like them, check out my Patreon, where you can get early access to videos and games and supplements and all sorts of other fun stuff that I make for the Patreon. However, if you don't want to do any of that, that's cool too. You can still hit all of the lovely buttons, like, subscribe, these other videos floating around screen somewhere, which I'm sure are lovely videos that you will also enjoy. And I will see you next time. Probably as a die.